I constantly forget to present myself. I'm Philip, and today is my last day in Kostenets. I'm leaving the village of Kostenets after 2 days where I made some hikings to 2 waterfalls in real mountain to return to Sofia. But along the way to Sofia, I'll try to visit another landmark, which is Trajanovi Vrata or Trajanovi Gates.
Everything has its own end, even the beautiful trips, but it's good when there's something more to discover before going back home. In fact, I knew about this landmark for a long time, but what I didn't know is that it's relatively close to the village of Kostenets. It's just yesterday evening that I realized the highway I have to take to return back to Sofia goes close to it. So after 2 days here, when I visited the village of Kostenets, the Kostenski waterfall and the Skalovitsky waterfall, and after shooting videos about all of them, I don't feel too unhappy that I have to leave that beauty all around here. Besides that, every end just precedes the beginning of something new, right? So here I am, letting out the hotel behind me, crossing again the village of Kostenets, then the town with the same name, and then taking a narrow road to reach the so-called Trajan's Gates. In fact, I don't know how to translate that landmark correctly. It could be Trajan's Gates or Gates of Trajan, but yes, it should be Trajan's Gates. Anyway, the road is in very poor condition, which is a shame for a supposedly touristy place, but after several minutes, here I am.
So this behind me is the Roman castle Trajanovi Vrata, or Gates of Trajan, named after the Emperor Trajan. And this is the information center where I have to buy tickets.
And just next to it, there's a tiny museum dedicated to the Roman garrison and the findings discovered during the archaeological works undertaken some time ago. There are some information boards on the wall relating the history of the region, some maps, a medieval Bulgarian armor, an ancient Roman helmet, some coins, old jewelry, utensils as a layout of the Roman garrison, and a reproduction of a drawing from the late 19th, early 20th century representing how the remains looked back then when they were found. But let's go to the castle itself. I knew beforehand it's not so big and for sure not some tremendous fortifications. In fact, after the archaeological excavations were done and during the renovations, the walls were raised a little, according to researchers undertaken by archaeologists and people who study ancient structures, to give visitors a clearer and correct idea of what the fortress once looked like. The fortress itself featured quite unique architecture for this region. 2 tall pentagonal towers flanked the entrance and a triangular one stood at the rear, a rather unusual design for this region. At its peak, the walls rose nearly 10 meters high, with towers even higher, and the fortification walls were over 2 meters thick. There were also 5 smaller side exits that soldiers used to rush out during sieges, often to set fire to enemy siege machines. One of the coolest things here is a tunnel near the main gate, built to secure water supply during sieges. Today, though mostly buried, you can still spot its entrance. Historically, about 100 to 120 Roman soldiers were stationed here, small in numbers, but mighty in their strategic advantage. Oh, a tiny lizard. A cute one. And it was one of the key points on the Via Militaris, a major Roman road that linked the empire with Constantinople. The fortress here wasn't huge, but it was extremely well placed. It controlled this narrow stretch between the hills, right where an ambush or blockade would be most effective. And here's where it gets really interesting. In the year 986, long after the decline of the ancient Rome and the Western Roman Empire, this very spot became the scene of one of the greatest defeats the Byzantine Empire had ever suffered. The Byzantine Emperor Basil II was retreating from Sredets, the ancient name of Sofia, after a failed siege. But as his army passed through this narrow mountain pass, the Bulgarian Tsar Samuil and his forces launched a surprise attack. The result? A crushing victory, and Basil II barely escaped with his life, while most of his army was either killed or captured. There's even a commemorative plaque dedicated to this battle.
So this is the gate of Trajan. Well, it is believed that it was built in the times of the Roman Emperor Trajan, but it's not sure, just because the first mention of that castle was from 3rd century, while Trajan was ruling late 1st, early 2nd century. It was just a small Roman garrison which was situated here to protect the pass through the mountains. The first mention of this garrison here was with the name of Scuti. Later, through the centuries, it changed several times its name, while today, obviously, it's known as Gates of Trajan.
Today, the site still holds echoes of all that history. I'm on the same spot where Romans, medieval armies and traders once passed through, and, fun fact, the Trajan motorway nearby actually cuts through the same pass, and there's even a tunnel there that also got the name of Trajan's Gate.
So this was the castle of Trajan's Gates, or the garrison Suki from the Roman times. Well, it is the last day in the vicinity of Kostenets, the village of Kostenets, and I'm on the road to Sofia again.
So, if it happens to you to be in this region, take a little detour. It's a peaceful place today, but it once echoed with the clash of empires. Thanks for joining me on this walk through time. If you like this kind of historical sport, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.